Hello everyone, I am Rachel Hawk. In this video, I am going to talk about true purpose of school, role of teacher in teaching during Education 4.0, how technology assists students' learning experience, and what should be taught in school. Before that, I would like to talk about philosophy. I believe that everyone has their own philosophies. Well, for me, as a language teacher, I want my students to have understanding of education and positive outlook of life. I want them to understand the importance of knowledge and try to enrich the minds of the students, and I would like to serve as a role model for them. Now, I will talk about Education 4.0. Education 4.0 is a way of thinking that empowers modern thinking with regards to convey education. It basically utilizes technology-based tools and assets to drive education in modern ways. This implies students are no longer in conventional classrooms, gaining from teachers, using textbooks, pens and papers as it were. Rather, with Education 4.0, you can have remote students that sign into their classroom, utilizing the web through modes like anonymous online open courses or video call, or dialing in through voice calls to learn materials that are increasingly powerful in nature with peers who may or probably won't learn at a similar pace as them. Now, let's talk about the purpose of school. Me as a language teacher strongly believes that the purpose of school is to give students an essential preparation for adult life, which called as being an adult. In order for my students to get prepared for an adult life, I will conduct communication activities in the class such as role play. I strongly agree that such activities will mold them to be a better person when they are out in a society, as they need to communicate every day. They should also receive education that helps them throughout every phase of his or her life. Every student has the opportunity to learn something new that can change their life. Then, as teachers, we can mold them so that they are prepared to face challenges to the real world when they grow up and be in a society. So, what about a teacher's role in teaching in the classroom? In the classroom, teachers should provide proper environment for them. The students must feel ease to approach with any questions regarding to the subject or career that they have in mind. There are many types of role as a teacher, but in this video, I will only talk about 3 types. That is teacher as a tutor, support, and resource. Teacher as a tutor acts as guidance or coach when the students have a project to work or self-study. The teacher provides advice, guidance, and help them to clarify ideas. In my class, whenever the students have difficulties in doing their homework, they can come and consult me, and I will guide them and teach them on how to do it. Next, teacher acts as a support that serves as a role model. Students need support when they are learning new skill or information. Me as a teacher, I will act as a support person when the students need help, and I will guide them by doing tasks that is given or tasks that they are not sure about. Lastly, teacher as a resource. As we know, students will come to teacher to seek for some certain information. Regardless of whether he or she is seeking a source of information, me as a teacher is the person who must realize how to discover what the student is looking for. I must take myself available so that students can consult as when it is necessary. I will guide them to use available, strong and proper resources such as internet. Alright, now I am going to talk about how technology can assist students' learning experience. Technology can support both learning and teaching. It increases student engagement and also motivation. There are 2 methods on how teacher can use technology to teach the students. First is by showing, not telling. Tools, for example, screencasts and smartboards, enables teachers to take a more show, don't tell approach. This makes it simpler and clarify complex themes. The utilization of visuals assists students to absorb information and comprehend a subject more rapidly. For example, in my class, I will show videos about certain topics rather than spoon-feeding them by teaching in front of the class. Second, technology gives extra help to the individuals who needs it. Apps and software programs can be additionally be utilized to address the students' needs at different stages of learning. This is especially helpful at the elementary stage, and young individuals nowadays are interested by their devices and gadgets. Therefore, tablets, apps, software programs, and interactive tools can be used in educational settings to enhance their language and proficiency level while helping teachers react to the individual needs of every student. As a teacher, I will allow my students to access the internet at their home while doing their homework if they do not know how to do it, because by using this way, my students will be exposed on how to use the technology for education purposes. Of course, that the technology works well for other students as well. Lastly, what is it that should be taught in schools? There are 3 things that I think it should be taught in schools. There are mental health, moral reasoning, and emotional intelligence. Mental health incorporates our emotional, mental, and social prosperity. It influences how we think, feel, and act. It additionally decides how we handle pressure or stress, identify with others, and settle on decisions. Mental health is important at each phase of life, from youth and adolescence through adulthood. As a role model to my students, I am always available and ready to hear their problems and guide them. Next, moral reasoning is a thinking procedure with the goal of deciding if a thought is correct or wrong by using logic. To realize in the case of something is correct or wrong, one should initially comprehend what that something is proposed to accomplish for, or to know whether this activity is the correct move to make. One must recognize what one needs to achieve, where one is, and the earth amount here, and the practice state. Youngsters can settle on moral choices about what is good and bad since early age. As a teacher, I can conduct activities such as role play, where by giving some situations to them to act it out by dividing it into 2 types of situation, which is with or without moral values. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to distinguish and deal with one's own feelings, just as the feelings of others. Emotional intelligence is cooperated with 3 skills, which is emotional awareness, or the ability to recognize and name one's own feelings, the capacity to tackle those feelings and apply them to tasks like thinking and critical thinking, and the ability to manage feelings, which incorporates both managing one's own feelings when necessary and helping each other to do likewise. I will show videos on how people cope up with emotions, as the real world out there has mixed emotions that the students have to go through. To conclude everything, me as a teacher that wants my students to be able to understand education and positive outlook on life, I will always be there for them whenever they need someone to talk to or need some guidance in doing a decision in life. I want to be able to help them in all kinds of needs in their life.